After 24 years, I'm finally going to tell you what is our favorite cruise line. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cruise Report. It's April 2025 and we have been cruise journalists for the last 24 years. And in that amount of time, we have been on 147 cruises. We've been on 43 different cruise lines and 116 different ships. Now, some of those ships we've sailed on multiple times. That's why it doesn't jive with the 147. Now, over the 24 years, I'll bet I've been asked hundreds of times, what's your favorite cruise ship? What's your favorite cruise line? So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into, it's very difficult to do this, by the way, because there are so many great cruise lines and great cruise ships, and we've had so many wonderful experiences over those 24 years, and we've traveled the world, many times. So it's tough because there's a lot of really great cruise lines, and every cruise line has certain things that set it apart from the competition. So I'm going to try to break it down into my top 5. I'm going to give you we sat down and we said, what are the 5 ships that we love most? And that kind of translates to the cruise lines, but sometimes it's a class of ships because they have several ships in the same class. Sometimes it's just an individual ship. Now, we tried to include cruise lines that we've sailed on multiple times. There's one exception to that, but for the most part, these are cruise lines we have quite a bit of experience with over the last 24 years. We're also trying to look at cruises that we've been on in the last, say, 5 or 6 years, not going back 25 years because it's not relevant anymore because maybe those ships are out of service. I also want to preface this. This is purely our opinion or my opinions. There's no credibility outside of that. It's purely my opinion as a cruise journalist, 24 years experience with all these variety of cruise lines. We've been on everything from ultra luxury cruises to small ship cruises. We've been on ships that hold as few as 18 people. We've been on the very basic. We've been on a lot of river cruises. We've been on the mega ships that hold 5,000 to 6,000 people. So we have a very broad spectrum of cruise experience, maybe some of the broadest in the industry, I'm not sure. But if we sit down and say, okay, of all the cruises we've been on, all the ships we've been on, what's our favorite? Which ones are our 5 favorite? And I've picked 5. And I'm going to go through these 5 ships, which could be classes of ships. And I'm going to tell you what I think is really special about each one and why we put that in our top 5. And then at the end, I'm going to try to be fair and pick just one. But we'll get to that later. I would also like to preface it by saying that we come at everything from the perspective of an adult couple traveling as a couple. We don't travel as a family. We're looking at things that are important to us traveling strictly as a couple together. Let's get started. Also, these are not in any order. So the one I talk about first or last has no bearing on which one's the best. We think all 5 of these are excellent in their own categories, in their own respect. Some are ultra luxury, some are premium cruise lines. We'll describe that a little bit more. So the first ship I'm going to talk about is Crystal Serenity. We were on this ship a little over a year ago, and we had sailed with Crystal in the past many times. So Crystal Serenity is certainly one of our top 5 favorite ships. I should also mention we will be sailing on Crystal Symphony in June of this year, so make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook if you want to see daily photos and updates and reels and little short videos. And we'll be, of course, doing full video review of the ship and everything after we get back. What we like about Crystal Serenity is it's a small ship by today's standards. It only holds 740 guests. So it's a little bit smaller, but lots of space to guest ratio and almost a 1-to-1 crew to guest ratio. So the service levels are extremely high. Like I say, Crystal is in the luxury segment. This is high end. They have redesigned many of their suites, and they're some of the most beautiful, most comfortable suites we've ever stayed in. We stayed in the Sapphire Veranda Suite. It was one of the best accommodations we've had on any cruise ship in 24 years. Very nice. Also, Crystal offers butler service for every category on the ship. Very nice, ultra luxury. And what we really like about Crystal is all of their dining is included. You're not nickeled and dimed for additional fees to go to their specialty restaurants. And they have several. Now, they don't have as many dining options as some other luxury cruise lines, but they have quite a few, and they're very good. We like the food on Crystal. We really like the buffet on Crystal. I think it's one of our favorite buffets of any cruise line. Now, because it's a luxury cruise line, Crystal also includes all of your drinks and all of your gratuities. So you don't have to sign a ticket every time you go to a bar and get a glass of champagne or a Crown Royal or whatever your favorite cocktail is. It's all included. Another really special thing about Crystal Serenity was the afternoon tea. They do a very, very nice formal afternoon tea. And when I say formal, I don't mean you have to dress formal, but the waiters come around with the white glove service, pouring the tea, have a nice tea menu. They put down the little multi-level tray with all the different scones and sweets and finger sandwiches. And one day they had this massive chocolate afternoon tea. It's like a chocolate extravaganza. And they have entertainment, live entertainment there at the afternoon tea. It's held up in the Palm Court, and it's just really well done. Very nice. Crystal Serenity, our first pick. Oh, and also one other thing they do is they do a very good job with lectures. They have a good lecture series. Our second pick is Silversea Silver Ray. Now, this is a new class of ships. Silver Nova, Silver Ray are their newest class, but I'm going to include Silver Nova in this because it's an identical ship. And I'm also going to include Silver Muse, Moon, Spirit, and Dawn. We've sailed on all of these except for Dawn. But this class of ships, or these two classes of ships, would certainly qualify for being in our top 5. Now, these ships, the Silver Ray, only holds 728 people. Once again, you get that high space to guest ratio. These ships never feel crowded. You never have to stand in long lines to get into a restaurant or to get onto an excursion. It's just more of a luxury, smaller ship, I should say, smaller ship experience. And we really like that. They also tend to cater more toward adults. They do allow children, but it's not really set up for families. There are very few things for kids to do on these cruises, but people do bring kids occasionally on Silversea and Crystal. But it's like I say, it's really not Disney, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, even Princess, Norwegian. Those are really more your family-oriented cruise ships and cruise lines. Silversea, Crystal are more the luxury, adult-focused cruise lines. On Silversea, every stateroom is considered a suite, and every stateroom gets butler service. It's more all-inclusive, so all of your drinks are included. All of your gratuities are included in the price of the cruise. Once again, you're not having to sign tickets or sign a check every time you get a drink at a bar. Now, on Silver Nova and Silver Ray, one of the things we loved about Silver Ray is the dusk bar. This is a new space at the back of the ship in the aft section of the ship, and I think it's one of the most special areas on any of the Silversea ships. Now, one of the things that sets these Silversea ships apart from some of the other luxury cruise lines is just the number of dining choices you have on board. There are many restaurants to choose from. They're not all included. Most of them are. There's a couple that you have to pay extra if you want to go to, such as La Dame or Kaiseki. Very good food on Silversea. Great 24-hour room service. Another thing that sets Silversea apart from some of the other luxury cruise lines, because they have so many ships in this category, and I've listed 5 or 6 different ships. They have an excellent choice of itineraries all over the world. That's one of the things that limits Crystal, is they only have 2 ships right now. I think they're going to be adding some ships, but with only 2 ships, you can only go so many places every year. So Silversea has that advantage. They have a lot of different ships that meet this criteria, being in our top 5, and they go all over the world. So you have a very good choice of itineraries with Silversea. So before I get to the third ship or cruise line in our top 5 series, I would like to remind you and ask you a favor. Please, if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor and click that little subscribe button down below, and don't forget the notification bell, because that way YouTube will let you know when we come out with new videos. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like. That really helps the algorithm, helps our channel, so more people will see our videos. Okay, let's get on to our third pick, and that is Viking Ocean Cruises. Now, Viking has about 15 different ships in this class of, they only have one class of ocean ship, and they are really spectacular, and they go everywhere. Now, what we love about the Viking Ocean ships, and I'm going to include all of them in this because we've sailed on, I believe, 4 or 5 different Viking Ocean ships. Every one of their ships is virtually identical. When you go on a Viking Ocean cruise, and let's say 6 months later you're going to go to a different destination on another Viking Ocean ship, once you step on board, you're going to be very comfortable. The decor is identical. The layout of the ship is identical. The staterooms are identical. The artwork is virtually identical. You'll feel right at home. There's no stress. Sometimes when you go on a new ship that you've never been on, it takes you a few days just to figure out how to find your way around. You never have to worry about that on Viking Ocean, because all of their ships, like I say, they're virtually identical. There are a few differences between some of the ships, but they're almost not noticeable. Viking is not what I would call luxury. It is, I call it at the high end of premium. Viking is almost there, but not quite. I'd say in the premium category, it's at the high end of premium. Viking does not include all your drinks. They don't include your gratuities in the price of the cruise. They do give you wine or beer with your meals. If you go to the bar at 9 o'clock at night after dinner, you'll have to pay for the drink. But they do have a very generous drink package pricing. So if you do want a drink package where everything's included in the drink package, it's a very, very fair pricing compared to some other cruise lines. Viking kind of prides itself on that it's a thinking man's cruise, not a drinking man's cruise. One thing we love about Viking is it is adult only. Nobody under 18 is allowed on the ship. So as an adult couple traveling together, we love that. It's also a very casual dress code. There's no formal nights on Viking. It's very casual dress. One thing Viking does include that the other cruise lines don't include are excursions. Every port you stop at has an included excursion option, at least one. And they have alternate excursions that you can pay extra for. And those are going to be the better excursions. So you might get included in the price of the cruise. You might get a walking tour of the town you're in. You might get a coach tour. It's not, like I say, it's not the most extravagant excursion, but at least if you just want to get off the ship, see some of the town or the port you're in, it's great. And I think it's a great value for that reason. Another unique thing for a premium cruise line is that Viking includes all of your specialty dining. So there is no additional cost to eat at the chef's table or Manfredi's, and the dining is very good. Manfredi's has the best steak of any cruise ship, in my opinion. The bistecca fiorentina is a ribeye with like a rub where they've cooked it, and it is absolutely melt in your mouth delicious. Another thing that Viking does better than anyone else, afternoon tea. It is the best afternoon tea, in our opinion, of any cruise ship. It's in the winter garden. It's every day. I think at 4 o'clock they have pianist playing or entertainment in their afternoon tea. The best of any cruise line we've ever sailed on. The other thing that Viking, I think, does better than any other cruise line is their spa. Their spa is included. You don't pay extra to go to the spa. So if you want to do a steam or a sauna or all the hot tubs, they also have a snow grotto. They've got a cold water bucket dunk that you can, douse yourself in cold water after you get out of the sauna or the steam. It's a beautiful spa area, a wet area, very relaxing, and I think it's the best of any cruise line we've ever sailed on. Okay, now our number 4 pick is a cruise line that we've only sailed with one time. And we were a little hesitant when we first booked it because we just didn't know if we were going to like it or not, or if we would feel out of place. But surprisingly, it is one of our top 5 ships, and we've only sailed on it once. So unusual that we would include it, but that is Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. We sailed on it on a 5-day cruise, and we kind of fell in love with it. We really enjoyed it. Mostly, I would say the biggest thing we liked about Virgin was all of the dining options, the specialty dining, and really all of the dining on Virgin is specialty dining. They don't really have a main dining. They have a variety of dining venues, very diverse, very ethnic oriented. The best Italian restaurant I think we've ever eaten at sea on any cruise ship, but the best Italian food, just absolutely excellent. They don't really have a traditional buffet. They have what they call the galley, and it's a bunch of different little food stations with international fare from around the world. Very clever, very unique, very interesting. So entertainment, excellent, especially the lounge entertainment. If you want to go listen to music, there's all kinds of things going on all over the ship. Now, some people might be turned off because there's kind of this sexual innuendo going on all over the ship. And we're very conservative, but it didn't bother us. We thought it was fun and kind of clever and different. Service was very good. We think the ship was very pretty, very beautiful, and we would never hesitate to go back on Virgin. I think they have 4 or 5 ships now, Brilliant, Valiant, Scarlet, and one other. Slips my mind right now. But the private beach at Bimini Beach is one of the best private islands that we've ever been to, and that's unique to Virgin Voyages. Now, Scarlet Lady is bigger than any of the other ships we've talked about. It holds 2,770 people. So it's getting up there into that mid to high range, but I'd also consider it a premium cruise line. What's nice about Virgin, like Viking, they include all of your dining. You don't have to pay extra for the specialty dining. It's all included. So that makes it a better value than some other cruise lines. Now, they don't include drinks. They do have a different way of dealing with drink packages. Another thing we love about Virgin Voyages is it's adult only. They do not allow kids on board. So for adult travelers, we really like the fact that Virgin Voyages is adult only. And also, like Viking, it's a very casual cruise line. There's no formal nights. It's a casual dress code. Now, you'll feel okay wearing a jacket at dinner in some of the restaurants, but you don't have to. It's a very casual experience. So what's our number 5 pick? Before I get to number 5, once again, I want to remind you, if you are enjoying the video, click that subscribe button down below. Don't forget the notification bell. Okay. Number 5 is Celebrity Beyond, and I'm going to include all of the Edge class ships in this. We've also sailed on Celebrity Apex. Now, we've sailed with Celebrity maybe 5 or 6 times over the last 25 years, 24 years, and we've always enjoyed the Celebrity experience. Now, this is a bigger ship. It holds more people. It holds about 3,300 people, somewhere in that range. It is a little bigger, and it will feel more crowded than the Viking, Crystal, Silversea experience. But the ship is modern, it's beautiful, very cutting edge, very contemporary decor, but we like that. Now, the Edge class ships are all going to be a little bit different as far as their decor. It's not like Viking. They're not all the same. There is a little difference from one ship to the next, but most of the venues are the same, and you do have the same choices. Now, unlike the previous cruise lines we've talked about, all of your dining and your specialty dining is not included on Celebrity. Now, I still consider Celebrity to be a premium cruise line. They're part of the Royal Caribbean family. I would consider Royal Caribbean to be kind of the base level, mainstream, mega ships, big ship experience. The next level up from that is Celebrity, and especially the Edge class ships, but any of the Celebrity ships. And then at the top of the Royal Caribbean family is Silversea, which is their luxury product. What you get on Celebrity that you're not getting with these other cruise lines we've talked about, what they do better than all of my other 4 in the top 5, they do a better job with entertainment. They have the best entertainment of our 5 favorite ships and our 5 favorite cruise lines. So entertainment, you get that Royal Caribbean level of entertainment, not quite like the Royal Caribbean big ships, but you do get excellent entertainment on Celebrity. You get a great casino. There's a lot of energy on a Celebrity Edge class ship. It's almost electric at night. It's really good. They have great daytime activities, and their dining is very good, but a lot of the specialty dining you do have to pay extra for, and it can get a little expensive. And that's the downside, I think, to the Celebrity experience is it's a little pricey. Our review that we did, our video review of Celebrity Beyond, was the most viewed video we had in 2023. Absolutely crushed it with views. And in fact, I would invite you to go back and look at all these 5 ships that we're talking about. We do have video reviews on our YouTube channel of each one, so make sure you check those out. The other thing that sets Celebrity apart, especially Celebrity Beyond and Apex, which are the 2 Edge class ships that we've sailed on, I personally feel like Celebrity has the best buffet at sea. And we're not big buffet people, but the Ocean View Cafe, in my opinion, is the best buffet of any cruise line. Excellent choices. The food was very good. Everything was hot. They'd still come around to your table and take your drink order. The other thing that we feel like Celebrity does very well is their ship within a ship concept for suite guests. They have what's called the retreat. And on Apex, we stayed in the retreat in a suite. Very nice, very comfortable accommodations. Back then, we had dedicated butler service. I don't know if they still have that or not. I think they've made some changes to their butler service. And we have not been on Celebrity since they made those changes. But the suite guests get a private lounge. They get private dining room, Lumine, which is very good service, very good food. And you have a private pool with a bar and a grill. And so it's almost like you're on a smaller luxury ship, but you still have access to all the great things of a big ship, like the great entertainment. So you can get away from the crowd if you want to by just staying within that retreat area. And we think they do a very good job with that. Now, while Celebrity is not adult only like Virgin Voyages, it is adult oriented. They do allow kids on board, and they do have some kids programs and things for families, but I think families tend to go more for Royal Caribbean if they're in that Royal Caribbean family. Celebrity just feels a little more adult focused than Royal Caribbean for sure. Okay, so there you have our top 5 cruise ships and cruise lines, or cruise ship classes in some cases. I'm going to also give honorable mention to a couple of other ships. One is Regent Seven Seas Explorer class ship. We did sail on Seven Seas Explorer a few years back. We have not been able to get on Splendor or grandeur. We would love to do a follow-up review and see if it is as good as we remembered Explorer being, but just a beautiful ship. Very, very nice. Regent Seven Seas does a great job as well. And another one, kind of an outlier that you wouldn't think about, but we found it to be one of our favorite ships, Swan Hellenic's SH Diana. We sailed on it last year to the Panama Canal. And just wonderful, sweet accommodations. Small ship. It only holds a couple hundred people, but we really, really enjoyed it. It is an expedition ship, no doubt, but it's not, it doesn't have the casino and all the entertainment and things like that. But if you're looking for a good expedition ship, we really enjoyed Swan Hellenic's SH Diana. And we will be going back on Swan Hellenic in August to Iceland and Greenland on their smaller ship, the SH Vega. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook if you want to know more about that. Okay, now I'm going to try out of these top 5, which is our favorite. This is where it's really tough because they're all great. They're all great. And there's a lot of other great cruise lines out there too. We love Princess Cruises. We even enjoy Carnival. When we go on Carnival, we have a great time. We've always been pleasantly surprised with Carnival and Princess and many of the other ones that we've sailed on. They're like I say, they're all good. It's hard to pick a best. But from these 5, if somebody came to us and said, okay, money's no object, pick a ship as an adult couple, what's your favorite ship? What's your favorite cruise line? Which one would you choose? And it's very close, very close. But I think we're going to have to go with Viking Ocean. I think if we were forced to pick one cruise line, that we could only sail on that cruise line for a year or two, or maybe we were going to do a world cruise. We were going to go for 100 days or 150 days. Which of these would you rather be on? It would be Viking Ocean. I wouldn't say by a large margin. I think all of these ships are great and would be great experiences. But if you only had to pick one, I'd pick Viking Ocean. I love Manfredi's. I love the chef's table. I love the World Cafe. Even the restaurant's good. I love their fair pricing on drinks, even though they're not all included. I like the fact that if you go to a port and you don't want to pay for an excursion, you can get off and do a coach tour or a walking tour. Love the decor of the ships, love the spa, and they have nice accommodations and great service. So that's it. If we had to nail us down in 2025 from 24 years experience, now this list could change. We could go on a cruise next month and completely change our mind. One of these could get knocked off. Another one could get added. There's some other great cruise lines out there too that we really enjoy when we go on. Number 1 cruise line, number 1 ship category or class, Viking Ocean. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, remember to please give it a thumbs up. That really does help our YouTube channel. Put in the comments down below, what are your favorite ships? What's your favorite cruise line and why? What's your favorite ship and why? What do you really like? Did you enjoy this video? Tell us if you have any questions about any of our top 5. Put it in the comments down below. Thanks again for joining me today, and until next time, smooth sailing.